Xiaomi, Chinese smartphone manufacturer, they have been fined 5,551 crores. And this was done the 29th of April. And this was because of the shenanigans they did. What they did was they tried to hide some of the profits by saying that they needed to pay royalties to three companies, one based in Dubai of Xiaomi Group and two unrelated companies in the United States. This is essentially what I would call as kickbacks, money laundering, whatever name you want to call it. They wanted to do tax evasion. They didn't want to pay the profits that they had accrued by manufacturing these phones. They were given the license in 2014. They started manufacturing in 2015. What is there to manufacture, you might ask? Well, there are things like you have to change the bezel, you may have to change the color, you may have to change the plastic, blah, blah, blah. But most of the stuff came from China. They just did a reassembly, marked it up very high percentage, I suppose, and they were trying to make money hand over fist. Now, the Enforcement Directorate had levied, or they had seized the assets worth 5,551 crores of deposits of Xiaomi, and they had appealed. And now the Foreign Exchange Management Act has ratified the ED move, saying that what they did was correct. The notification went in April 29th of this year. Today, it is October 1st, and it has been ratified. So Xiaomi will have to pay that. Why this sudden cracking of the whip by the Modi government? Well, this was a long time coming. Many companies try to hide their secrets by doing something like this. In fact, it's a fine science or art, whatever way you want to call it, in the United States companies too. Most Fortune 500 companies are what is called as tax inversion companies, meaning like they incorporated themselves outside of US, even though most of their design, most of their development, most of their marketing all happens in the United States. Google, Apple, you name it, all these name brand companies, you will find them registered outside of the United States. It's called as tax inversion, and they were doing that to take advantage of the fact that Ireland had a 12% corporate tax, and so on and so forth. And they would do some things like they would put all the intellectual property, like the patents of Google and Apple, they would put all that in a company based out of Europe, again, to try and not pay the taxes on the royalties accrued on those things. Everybody plays this trick. I'm glad Indian government is cracking down on this. In fact, Obama tried hard to crack down on this. Towards the end of his second term, that's when they finally got one company to not do tax inversion. That was Pfizer, I believe. It was Jack Lew, who was the Treasury Secretary at that point of time. He devised a clever way where he quoted the rules and said that this is not possible. And finally, that practice stopped. With the Trump administration, corporate taxes came down to 20% flat. And then with all the other benefits and so on, your effective tax rates around 15%, which I think most in American companies were willing to pay. So that's where things stand. I'm glad this is happening. This is a bad practice that many companies do. In fact, some of the big companies in India do the same thing using an army of chartered accountants. There was a time when they used to buy a lot of these grape farms, and those used to show loss, and then they say, okay, here is a loss, here is my profit, you offset the two together, I don't pay any taxes. Now, there have been other things also. The stock market was using options to do the same thing. I've talked about this in a previous hangout. Do look it up. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.